Hey, 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 hey. Community conversation. Today is Sunday. What's today, Coach?
Sunday all day.
Reach one, teach one, community strong. Hey, we got something to say. Hey, we got something.
I want to welcome you all to a community conversation. Wouldn't be an I without a you, wouldn't be an us without a we.
Welcome to the show. We're about to drop some knowledge to Mr. Howard Sanders with the brother Coach Body. Superheroes, conversation about the real. They try to keep it.
We got a superhero this morning, Miss Felicia Cameron and family.
And family.
The prophet of the truth. Initials POT. No price tag on this knowledge. You can get it for the free. Reach one, teach one, the old and the young. We got it by the spirits with the power of the tongue. I'm on the inside looking out, they on the outside looking in. Keep it cordial, don't explore. They call them family, call them friends. You pursue it, you can do it. Show love, count your bliss. Life is hard, but it's fair. And it comes.
Byron Broomfield. Black Goldie the Mac. Producer Snow with no W. Moving Southern Styles. I think they're going to be performing in the upcoming, they got an upcoming event.
They do.
Yeah, you do? You already know about it?
He told me something about it, but I forgot the date.
Okay, we'll make sure you guys get that.
Byron Boone.
And I always have to acknowledge him. He did a clean song.
Oh, it's nice.
Yeah, he doesn't do clean songs.
Well, he did it for us because we're clean people.
Yes, sir.
Community conversations.
All right, Miss Cameron. It's been a long time coming, and we in the building. Go ahead, you can speak.
Good morning. You're right. We're a family in the building.
And it's a pleasure to have you. You brought some next ones up. We call people anywhere between 8 and 35. The next ones up. So who do you have to your right over there?
To my right, I have my daughter, Soteria Cameron.
Miss Cameron, would you please introduce yourself to Community Conversation?
My name is Soteria Cameron.
All right, and what grade are you in?
Going to 7.
Okay, congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
All right, let me put the camera around here on this other gentleman.
Yes.
All right, and who do we have here, Miss Cameron?
I have my son, Solomon.
All right, Mr. Solomon, would you bring yourself? Oh, he's shaking his head like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah,
that's me.
Solomon in the house.
That's
I'm
me.
in the
I'm
house.
in the building.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Solomon, bring yourself to the microphone.
My name is Solomon Cameron. I'm going to 10th grade, Germantown High School.
All right, what you got? What you doing out of? You look like a student athlete. What you got going? Oh, he said he is.
I do football and track.
Coach, he said that he was shy, right? What he telling me now is you talking all over my monologue. Tell us again what you got going on, Mr. Solomon.
Football and track.
Okay, all right. What number you wearing out there on the football field?
Started at 7, but this year I got 17.
Okay, you gonna make it work?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what positions are you playing?
I do wide receiver and cornerback.
All right, we're gonna flip back over here to Miss S. Miss S, what school do you attend?
What school do you attend?
Germantown Middle.
Okay, and what kind of activities do you participate in out at Germantown Middle?
Choir and band.
Okay, so you got athletes, you got academics, you got student athletes. All right, now we're gonna bring Mama Hen on. Hold on, let me find her picture on here.
Yes.
Yeah, we got to get on here. Hold on. Would you please introduce yourself and what it is that the impact that you have in community?
Okay. My name is Felicia Cameron. I'm a licensed clinical social worker as well as a SAP professional, substance abuse professional. I am the owner of Lending My Hand, where I provide mental health counseling service for individuals 18 and above. I have a solo practice where I work in my own office in Ridgeland, Mississippi. I also have a second business I own is Mississippi SAP Evaluation, where I do SAP evaluation for those dealing with who have a failed alcohol and alcohol drug test for the DOT. In addition, I'm the founder of a nonprofit, Hands Here to Help.
Coach, you know I always got to tap in with my recovery, right?
Yes.
And I ain't felt a drug test in about 15 years.
Well, just thank God for that.
And that was some, it was an opiate. I think it was an antibiotic. Wait. What was it? Opiate is a pain pill?
Yeah.
Okay, and I took a pain pill.
Okay.
Because I had a toothache.
All right.
And I don't do pills. That ain't my thing. That ain't my what we call it, my caveat.
Yes, your caveat.
So when I went back to my recovery, we had to go to classes.
Okay.
And I went back to class, and when I walked in, everybody was looking at me.
Looking at you strange?
Looking at me weird.
Oh, okay.
So because they knew more about my business than I knew about my business. So, Ms. Cameron, when I walked in, I walked in with my strut and stuff, and if they wanted to ask me what about my drug test, I'm like, what about my drug test?
What about your drug
What
test?
about my drug test? They said, well, you came back dirty for opiates. I said, but that's not my drug of choice.
Well,
It ain't got nothing to do with me. What would you say about that, Ms. Cameron, with the SAP program?
okay, with the SAP program,
Yes, ma'am.
most people that I see that come in, I see a lot of truck drivers. But it's SAP, Substance DOT, that covers not only just truck drivers,
Okay.
it covers the FAA, as well as the railroad, the pipeline. And so most people fail, since we're talking about the DOT, they fail because of marijuana use.
Man, that marijuana something else.
Well,
That was my
Joe-
drug of choice, marijuana, with something else mixed in it every 5 years.
Okay.
So continue to share with us will you give us those occupations, those employment opportunities again that fail? So it's not the end of the world because you get a failure.
Right.
We call it a positive or a hot.
Yeah,
Okay.
they call themselves hot, so it's not the, in regard to the SAP, it's not the end of the world, so I do encourage people. Sometimes they think that majority of their truck career is over with because they got this violation. And so my job as a SAP professional is to do their assessment, go more detail about why they got this violation, do assessment of them, and recommend them treatment or education to get them along the way.
So there's 2 remedies. What's the 2 remedies, Coach?
Treatment,
And the other one is
education.
education. So it's not the end of the world. It's not
just
the end of the
beginning,
world. You just
actually.
need to connect with Miss Cameron, with Miss Felicia Cameron. The name of the which company is that they will connect through, and
It's
also give them a
separate.
telephone number
Okay.
and a website or a social media page.
Okay. For the DOT is SAP Evaluation of Mississippi. The phone number is 601-317-5997, and the website is www.sapevaluation of Mississippi. And that's also as well on social media.
Okay. So you've got some opportunities to go into a success by reaching out
Right.
to Miss Felicia Cameron so that she can get you, first of all, dust you off, brush you off, get you feeling confident again.
Right.
And let's go on and attacking this through education. And what's the other one, Coach?
Education and training.
And training. When I hit that's because I couldn't remember the other one.
That's okay.
Okay. What we're going to start off with this morning, Coach, I've been pulled, I've been stretched all week, and I need some what?
Some filling. We need to be filled our vessels because it has been a lot going on this week. So we're going to ask Miss Felicia to start us out. We will start with a word of prayer.
Okay.
And that's going to get us into that spirit to realize that God is in control of everything in our lives.
Okay. All right. Well, we start off with a word of prayer. Father God, in the name of Jesus, Lord God, we just thank you, God, for this opportunity, Lord
Yes.
God. We thank you, God, for Community Strong, Lord God, and all those workers and everyone involved with this, Lord God. We pray, Lord God, that this word, anything that's shared today will minister and encourage people, Lord God, and inspire people, Lord God. And I thank you, God, that it will encourage and motivate us to step up and to rise up in what we are called to do and start doing. In Jesus' name, we just thank you. Amen.
Amen.
You know what? How you feel about that, Solomon? How you feel about what Mom just put out there in the universe? Were you listening? You were listening.
Yes, sir.
Give me some feedback on what Mama just said.
Praying for the helpless of people. We have for example, our business. Praying for help with our business. That she'll be able to get out to reach more people and help more people. Because she need to touch more than just the people in Jackson.
Wow.
She need people all the states and everything because everybody need help.
Yes, sir.
Mama, how you feel? Excuse me. I'm going to say mama, son, whatever.
That's fine.
Cameron, how you feel about how your son just interpreted that?
I felt really good about it. I mean, let me know that he heard it and he got it. And so that's really good.
Okay. Now, Mr. Solomon, ask little sis over there how she feel about what Mama just
How
said.
do you feel about this, Terry? Was you listening?
Just put it on.
Give us some feedback. What do you think what Mama just said? From
She
your
was thanking for to be here and the opportunity to be in the studio.
So it doesn't matter, Coach, how much we get as long as we get just a little nugget.
Just a nugget. The reflection is so beautiful because both of them was really showing a reflection of their own mom, and everything they were saying. So I like the fact that we are here. And it's like when I went to church today, they was talking about be at home. That was a be at home.
Okay.
And y'all sitting on the couch like y'all at home. So all that fake nervousness and scaredness, all that's gone now.
It's over
You're at
with.
home.
It's over with.
Community conversations.
All right. What we're going to do now is we're going to bring our next ones up, and we're going to allow Miss S, little Miss S, to do the focus, knowing community now. You mind reading that for us? My handwriting might be kind of bad. And then we'll come back and let Mr. Solomon know he'll do the knowing community now. All right.
Which one she read?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Right there at the top. Right there at the top. The very top. Yeah. Everything.
Focus.
Where it says focus.
Knowing community now.
And speaking to the microphone for us. Yeah. There you go.
Knowing community now, people and persons, individuals develop events, opportunities, organizations, and businesses.
Okay.
Movements, family, community is family. Church, school, university, talent, and entertainment.
Go ahead. So that's our focus.
That's
Knowing
our
community
focus.
now. And Mom has an event coming up. Miss Felicia has an event. You know anything about that event that's coming up? What you got going on?
A man conference.
A what? What kind of conference?
A man conference.
All right. That's what I'm talking about. Miss Felicia, how you feel about what little S just said?
I feel good and happy. They know what's going on.
Are they going to be engaged and involved?
Yeah, she has already been engaged, involved, helping on the back end, helping me get things together, like packing things up and organizing things for the conference.
Okay, fantastic. All right, now we're going to come over to our wide receiver, our defensive back.
Solomon the wise man.
And we're going to the 10th grade now. You guys get ready, and we're going to tap into the purpose, Mr. Solomon.
Inform, educate, inspires, stimulate, engage through sharing and conversation, reflection, genuine love for the community, embarrassing, joy, fun, experience. It's a little scribbled out, but living life on life terms, no shaming, no
Blaming.
energy, possession, composure, empathy, sympathy, failures, success, and lifted, and
Steadfastness.
steadfastness.
And then hit that other one with some enthusiasm like you about to score a touchdown.
Get up off the couch, do some work.
All right.
Get up off the couch and do some work.
Get up off the work. That's little Chris over there. Get up off the couch and do some work. All right. What we're going to do now, Coach, is we're moving right along.
Yes.
We're going to do the bio. Then we're going to come back with a little mind food.
Oh, it's wonderful, wonderful.
Okay. What do you want to go first? You want me to go first?
Yeah,
Or
you've
how
been
you-
talking so much. Let me talk a little bit. Is that all right?
Now get you some, sir.
All right. So
Get yourself
we
some.
have Miss Felicia Cameron, and this is just a little
Did
small.
he say Karen or Cameron?
I said Cameron.
Oh, my fault. Go ahead.
Well, she is a caring person.
okay,
Come on now.
Go ahead.
She's a
Go
caring
ahead.
person.
Go ahead, Coach. Hit me with it.
All right, so she is a LCSW, it's a licensed clinical social worker, and she also is with this program called the Substance Abuse Professionals. We call them SAPs, okay? So she's just not just don't do that, but she's an international speaker. Did you know that? And also that she's a nonprofit founder of this organization called Hands Here to Help Incorporated. She's also a board certified telehealth professional as well, and the author of the Big D Depression Journal and Racing Thoughts Journal. She's a speaker, international. She's in Facebook. She does something on Facebook Live. These talks, and she talks about therapy issues that needs to help the community. And then she's having this big conference called the Men Engaging in Needed Conversations Men's Conference. Now I'm going to read the first paragraph about this. It's
Wait a minute
extensive
now.
bio.
Wait a minute now. How you get another paragraph?
I said it's extensive bio.
Okay, go right
that
ahead.
That was the
sir.
intro.
That was the intro. Go right ahead.
Yeah, now,
We're
you know-
fighting over Miss Cameron. Go ahead.
Listen, you know two is better than one.
Okay, go right ahead, sir.
I had to do the intro. Now I'm doing the bio.
Okay.
All right. She's a founder of the Leading the Hands established in 2019, a mental health practice that serves individuals in the state of Mississippi. Felicia Cameron has been a full-time, I didn't say part-time, I said full-time, private practice since July 2021. Felicia Cameron is a licensed clinical social worker with over 18 years of experience. She works with individuals 18 and older, suffering from anxiety and depression, coping with adjustments to life transitions.
Ms. Cameron, would you give us a little feedback on that first paragraph? Because we got some more paragraph. We just getting started on you.
Okay.
Give us a little feedback on that first paragraph.
The first paragraph about the 18 years?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
ma'am.
Okay, so feedback is that I've been doing social work for 18 years. Mainly, I had started off as a social worker working with the Department of Health, DHS, I should say. Started off with working with them, working with children as a social worker, and did some work with the Children's Hospital, as well as working in State Department hospice, forgot what it's called, community care.
Okay.
Up on when people get discharged from, I can't think of the name. Anyway, when they get discharged from the mental health hospital, the state hospital. So I did some work with there, as well as different other organizations. So that 18 years is still for a lot of working with the community, mainly working with kids, and started working with adults.
Okay, pretty good, pretty good. Now, also in that first paragraph, the founder of Lending a Hand. How was that birthed?
Lending a Hand came about many years ago. I was working at an organization called Pathway, and it was an organization where people, once they have an issue with substance, they would come to Pathway to get help, whether they get some type of treatment. And so and the treatment could be like some box and to help them get off the opiates and stuff, different medication. I was one of the therapists. And while working at this organization, one time I was working and I decided I was work back there with the client. I had a client to come back, and the client came back all screaming and crying. Mind you that it was mandatory that the client had to see the therapist, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, what's going on? And they told me they got upset from up front because they was told how much they had to pay to see me.
That'll set you off.
And so when they told
Ms.
me...
Cameron, hold on. That payment will set you off.
it-
Okay, and Coach, what we want to do is once you finish that, we want to come back and see how can systems do a better job of communicating so the client doesn't get set off in the emergency need of someone touching them. So go ahead and finish.
So when they told me the price that they was told up front, that they was told that they had to pay to just see me for therapy, it kind of, I forgot that I was a therapist then, because I started thinking about it, because for months I've been asking for a raise. And I couldn't get it, and they was charging this person almost 5 times than what I was asking for a raise. And then that kind of shook me, like, okay, I need to learn what I need to learn to get the third person out, which is the third person was this organization, and find out what I need to do. And so that started me researching, praying diligently about it, and lending my hand came to me. I knew God gave me the idea. I know the title had to have hand in it, and with much prayer and just counsel for different people, lending my hand was birthed.
Wow.
Wow. So instead of you complaining, shaming, and blaming, you went internal to find out what you could do external.
Right.
All right. Okay. Now, how can systems, institutions do a better job, have more attention to the client's needs by sharing with them the cost of services prior to them even leaving home?
So prior to leaving home, letting them know ahead of time what is, first of all, if they are using their insurance, to go ahead and verify with that person insurance, to let them know, okay, you do have a deductible, you do have a copay. Even if they're not for sure, you might have to pay this certain amount, to at least give them a range.
Yes.
So people can make an adjustment. Okay, do I need to go to my appointment now, or I need to adjust it to when I get paid?
Right.
For those who don't have insurance, if they're going to use like a sliding fee, they can kind of give them a price range. We charge for this certain amount, so still give them an idea of how much the session might cost.
Right.
But also how you approach people and talk to people.
That's right.
And
That's
so, people, first of all, they come in here, they have a need. You know, sometimes it takes enough just to work themselves to come to the place.
Yes, just to get them to the
And
part.
so having people in position that can recognize those skills and be able to talk to people, make people feel comfortable because they still coming for your service, and making them feel welcome on how you interact with them and providing them that information about, okay, it's going to cost this amount, but how you approach and talk to people.
Right,
It does
right.
matter. And so building those system up, making sure you have a way to tell people, giving them a range about how much things might cost. But it's all about showing that you care and you genuine about it.
Okay. What are 3 things that myself as a client, I'm going into an environment that I'm not familiar with. What are 3, maybe just 3 components that I need to be honed in on as far as addressing? And it's sad that our systems and our culture, Coach, is set up financially. You want to give us a little insight on the mental challenge of someone going into a new environment? I'm already stressed out.
Yep.
And now I got to be concerned about the fee. And I know some institutions or some systems have sliding fee scale.
Right.
So, Coach, mentally, how should they approach the system in getting the information? Or better yet, what are the 3 components that we should, as a client, that I should be consciously aware of? I know it's more
from
than
a client
3.
perspective.
From a client's perspective, explain it about the 3 systems.
The three components that I should really be addressing for me to be able to get there, get my service, and then be able to make my way back home.
Okay. So 3 things from a client perspective is, first of all, finding out what all programs they have or service, and really asking those questions. And when you ask that question, making sure as a client that they explain it to me. So,
Right.
you know, because if I'm a client and I'm going to ask these questions, but if I don't feel like they really teaching me or trying to explain to me, or they turning me off real quick, then that might be a sign, okay, that I just might be aware of. But then also, what it's checking if they have websites, social media, this information posted, that you can find that out as well. Some people looking at reviews, you know, that helps a
That's
lot.
powerful. I'm a review guy. Okay, go right ahead.
But
That's
looking at
powerful.
reviews or find from people who use the service before talking to them, and just making sure that you are prepared and asking those questions, so when you do come, you're not completely shocked.
Okay. All right. And Coach, from a mental perspective, how should I approach going into that environment, engaging the system?
Well, basically, going into the system, in order that you have a need, the first thing you have to do is make sure that you get all the collateral information that you need before you get there, and then actually make a comparative analysis of what you was planning to seek for as a services there that are being given, and do they have the scope or the capacity to actually help you? Because sometimes you may go in with one understanding of what you want to get for as help, and that particular company may not have the information, and then they actually, especially from a therapeutic standpoint, they may not match up with you. You know, just because the company say we have therapy, that therapist may not match up with you to help you with your needs. So you just got to make sure you get evaluation of what's going on when you get there, get clarity. Make sure that the people that's actually providing the service have the expertise to help you. For instance, if a person's going into a trauma issue and you got a person who's a child specialist, they work with just children only, right? They never had any history in trauma. They don't know anything about trauma-focused care, and they're talking to you about issues that they don't know about, then they're going to underserve you. And so lots of times what happens is that we want to go into a situation, but sometimes the particular service provider don't give you all the information. And then after you get your service or that you was planning on getting, you got to have the proper intervention that's going to be needed to help you to overcome your situation. And lots of times they just want to go through the billing report. You could bill a report for so long.
Right.
You want to really get into the crux of why you're here. And I think that's one of the biggest issues that we have with receiving any type of therapy. They don't give you the whole scope of practice of what you're looking at doing. And then when you finally get there, you'll be disappointed.
Okay. Wow. All right. Felicia specialized in helping and empowering African Americans, women and men, with the strategy, tools, and techniques for them to have healthy relationships with all their endeavors: family, parents, co-workers, spouse, partner. What are some of the tools that you provide your clients with?
But some of the tools is just, first of all, open up to engage and talk, whether that is providing them talking about journal, giving them journal prompts so they can go and practice journaling, and we come back and talk about it. Finding out what are their strengths and their skills, and I build on that. What if someone like to draw, and whether we doing drawing or we actually, getting an adult coloring book.
Okay.
That really helps.
What's
people.
an adult coloring book, Miss Cameron? What's an adult coloring? I hate I ain't asked you to. The next time you come, I want you to bring an example of
adult coloring
an
book.
adult coloring book.
So it can be like a coloring book. Sometimes people like to color by numbers, or they have the shapes and they are
Yes.
coloring, and it really does help people with their anxiety, depression.
Okay.
A coping technique that I have used with some of my clients is using puzzles, or breathing
Is that the big head puzzles or the 100,000 pieces?
Some little
The
small
big
pieces.
small
Okay,
pieces,
all right.
yeah.
I like them big head.
But if the big head working, we use the big head. It's puzzles. Whether that's that or mainly talking, is there walking, or if it's techniques where if they have an issue with anger, we finding out what techniques will work with their anger. And so I use my therapy session to pull from them what strengths they have, get them suggestions, have them work on those coping techniques to let me know if Felicia worked or Felicia didn't work, and we go from there.
I had a licensed clinical social worker. I'm going to give a shout out and acknowledgement to Ms. Crystal. Ms. Crystal used to always open up her presentations. I ain't going to say always, but somewhere in the presentation, she would make sure that you were consciously aware, spiritually aware, mentally aware that it's okay not to be okay.
It's okay to be okay. That's
It's
so true.
okay not to be okay. And as you're communicating, when you sent me your pictures, I had a professional picture and then I had a laid-back picture. The laid-back picture, you was wide open with the big smile. Coach, can you show that to the camera? Well, I ain't got you on the camera. But anyway, and it says this, therapists, we listen and we don't judge. Give me a reflection on we listen and we don't. Now, this is a therapist speaking to a client.
Yeah,
Okay.
we listen, and I can't remember who I got that shirt from. It was another therapist actually created that shirt, and I reached out to them on Facebook, purchased the shirt, and so it said, "Therapy, we listen, we do not judge." And so, and that is the core. In therapy, we truly, first of all, you want to find a therapist that you can, because there's a lot of different therapists, and I come in contact with people say they went to therapy and they don't get the effect. Let me just say
Okay,
that.
all right.
But
Thank you for
for
that
me,
disclosure.
we listen, we do not judge. And so that's a big thing that I get from my clients, is they glad that they come to a space where they can actually feel heard, because many times people, they have family and friends and they cannot talk to them, or if they do talk, no one's listening to them, like really listen to them. And so, yeah, we listen and I do not judge, because sometimes people are afraid to share things, because I'm afraid if I share what I'm thinking about or be honest, you're going to judge me about what I'm thinking about. For instance, I might truly don't have a good relationship with my mom, and people might say, hey, but that's your mom. But honestly, you don't want to do certain things, so you don't want to do this, but people tell you that's my mom, but you can come in therapy session and be honest about what your feelings about it and not feel judged by me. And so that's good.
Okay. All right, Coach, I'm about to finish up mine. They're connected. Felicia Cameron is also founder of the SAP Evaluation of Mississippi, where she, as a substance abuse professional, provides assessments and education to individuals who fail the Department of Transportation DOT drug test. And we've come to agreement that that is not the end. They just need some education
And some
and
training.
But in order to get that education and that training, they got to communicate with who and where?
SAP Evaluation of Mississippi, and go ahead and get them assessment.
Okay, and the contact number is?
601-317-5997.
And it is an environment, an ecosystem of no judgment, no blaming,
And
no
no
shaming.
shaming.
That don't mean that she ain't gonna get on that back end as you all move through the program, because everybody's got to be held accountable
That's right.
for the role that they play in their outcome. All right.
And I'm going to say something about
Please
that,
do.
because even, I'm coming to do their assessment. Like sometimes people tell me I'm not only doing their assessment, but this going to be their first time actually meeting a therapist too.
Okay,
And so they
okay.
I tell them already, I say, yes, I'm a SAP professional, but I'm also a therapist. So you will get therapy intertwined
Twining, yes,
with
yes.
this assessment. And
Good
so
job.
I have had people, even after their assessment and they finish their educational treatment, come back and they sign up to say, hey, I do need therapy. Or I didn't realize what therapy can help, because I do intertwine that while I'm talking to them during their assessment.
Coach gave me the eye. I know you got some feedback. You got some piggybacking on that?
Well, she kept saying about the assessment, and so it just in our clinical language we call a biopsychosocial
Okay, yeah.
assessment. Why is that so important? A biopsychosocial assessment. Why is that is more important than just a functional assessment?
It's more important because you got to look at the whole picture of a person, not just, okay, but this this small portion. No, I'm looking at the social history. I'm looking at the education history, the environment. Yeah, medical might be tied in, trauma, grief. All that is very important just to understand why this person is here in front of you. And for instance, since we're talking about the SAP, many times people have their own notion of what they think about people who use illegal drugs and stuff like that. But sometimes I am finding out, like I said, I intertwine therapy in with it. And sometimes people, that's all they know. That's all they growed up with. Not saying it's right.
So they get a double dose because they're dealing with a SAP specialist,
And a
professional,
therapist.
and a therapist. So you're paying $1, but you're getting $15 worth of service
Getting
back.
all that value.
Yeah, they get a little therapy. They get therapy mixed in with it.
Oh man! So you're just not going to somebody that's gonna that's a SAP personnel. You're going to a therapist
Yes.
and a SAP professional.
Yes.
We're
Yes.
not taking away anything else from the other personnel. You guys
Right.
just got to get your game up a little bit.
Yeah.
Get your game up a little bit. Give Miss Cameron so she can give you the roadmap to getting your game up a little bit. But go
That's
right
it.
ahead, Miss Cameron.
Okay.
So they get the therapy.
Yeah, I mix in therapy when I'm doing their assessment.
Okay.
And just being real with them, and just not just here going through these questions, but actually mixing in the therapy with it, because many times I am finding out that people, when they talk about coping, sometimes people use that a lot of times to cope, and that doesn't go well with that profession.
That's right. That's
Okay.
right. That's right.
I like
you're
the way
dealing
she
with the
framed
safety.
that.
I love that too.
You're
Yes.
dealing with the safety of the public.
That's
Okay.
right.
And so, there's unhealthy coping mechanism and there's healthy
Healthy.
coping.
That's right.
So in this sector, that is an unhealthy coping mechanism as you're working with the public.
Your verbiage does not allow a person to be defensive. When I'm communicating and sharing my recovery story, I always share with people that it's about me. My story ain't about your story.
Right.
It's my story. So don't allow my expressions, my conversation, and my tone to be a reflection of you being defensive or cutting yourself off from me. I'm gonna ask the two S's. I'm gonna start with little Miss S. Miss S, you okay over there? Okay. Can you differentiate when mama, the parent, or the therapist is communicating with you
Yeah,
in the
that's a
household?
good question. Thank you.
Can
That's a
you
good question.
differentiate? Can you tell the difference between when mama is talking to me, the therapist is talking to me, or the parent is talking to me? Is that okay for me to ask you that? Or should I ask your brother first?
My brother.
Okay, go ahead, big guy. Go ahead, Mr. Solomon. Can you distinguish between when mama is talking to you,
Mama,
the therapist,
therapist,
or the parent?
or the parent?
Okay, go right ahead, sir.
Yes, I can.
He said it quick.
Go right ahead. Shed some light on us. Which one you want to discuss first? The therapist, the parent, or the mama?
The mama. The
Okay,
mama.
go ahead with
For
the mama.
example, you in the house, the dishes getting big, the dirty and stuff. Then that mama her will tell you, you need to clean this up. You been at the house whole day. I don't know why you ain't clean nothing up or anything. Okay.
Okay, go right ahead. What would the therapist say to you about them
The
dishes?
therapist, you ask a question like, why should I do this? And she'll break it down to you. Tell you why she thinks you should do it and everything.
So that's the
great.
therapist. Okay, so you got mama, the therapist. Now we're going for the bonus round. We 3 for 3. We're going for 3 for 3. And we got 3 passes, 3 touchdowns.
Yes.
What would the parents
Parents
say?
say yes,
Parent
yes.
say, she'll be like, nah, I told you to do this. I told you before I left the house to do it, and still ain't done when I came back.
He got it down
Oh
pat.
man, he did exceptionally well.
He got it down
Yeah,
pat.
he did really well. And he did not, Coach, when Solomon first came in the building, he put himself way over in the corner. I said, what you doing? I need you to come over here. Solomon, you did really well, brother.
Yes, sir.
You did
Thank
really
you.
well. All right. How do you pronounce your sister's name?
Soteria.
Soteria.
Mr. Terry, you ready? You ready? What would Mama say to you about them dishes? About those dishes?
To do the dishes, I would be sitting on the couch watching TV. She'd be like, "You over here watching TV for an hour."
Ms. Cameron, I should have got permission before I went in your household. Okay, so that's Mama.
It's a learning lesson, right?
You're sitting on the couch watching TV in your own space, and she said, "Look, what Mama tell you about them dishes?"
You've been sitting on the couch for an hour. You're not doing anything.
All right.
right.
So that's Mama.
Okay.
Which one you want next? The parent? Let's go to therapist.
Yes.
What would the therapist say to you about sitting on the couch and you got an assignment over there in the sink?
She would also break it down, saying you can do the dishes while you're watching TV, and you can also do the dishes while you listen to music and stuff.
Wow. So that's the therapist.
That's the therapist, okay?
Now hit us with the parent.
What would the parents say?
You know what? Come here right now, do these.
That was great. That was great. Oh, man.
I got a tear in my eye. Coach, give me your analysis of how the cohabitants of the household, the children of the household, and the up and coming next ones up in the household. What did you take on what they just gave us?
Well, it comes with called family engagement. When you have a family that's really engaged, you can tell that this family is engaging in the conversations just besides what's going on social media. So these children was able to analyze and break down what actually happens at home. And then also it kind of mirrors what Miss Felicia actually does with her client, because what we have to do when you do a strengths discovery and you're discovering what the strengths of the client is, you want to find out what they're really doing in different environments. So in different incidents, they was talking about the dishes. The dishes is a very important subject, something need to be done, but how you approach it is very important. From the parent standpoint, it was a statement, right?
Okay.
Then from a therapist standpoint, there was questions, right?
Okay.
And then from the mama standpoint, there was what? It was no statement or no question. It was a command.
Take action.
And take action.
Yeah.
And that's how, when you're talking about dealing with these clients, that's what she's doing. She's actually mirroring what she does at home with her professional life as well. We call it making sure that you separate your personal values and your professional values, and you understand them, because when you separate them, you know exactly when to use it and when not to use it. She knows when to be mama, when to be therapist, and when to be a parent.
And Mama, Ms. Cameron, with you being the mom, the therapist, and the parent, what is your reflection of their perception
Yes.
of the roles? Because you play, and that's just 3 roles. We
That's
didn't
3
get into
roles.
these other roles that's inside the household. What is your reflection on how your children,
next
your
one's up.
cohabitants, the next adults coming through? What's your reflection on their interpretation?
They understand on all 3 levels.
Okay, man, that's something else. So those of us that don't have those other, so in a household, an adult could actually be a therapist, a parent, and also the actual title.
Or role.
Okay. All right, Coach, hit us up with this because it's leading us into, let's skip the 3rd paragraph, go to the 4th paragraph, and then we're going to come back and really elaborate on the 3rd. So go to that 4th paragraph.
In 2024, Felicia founded the Hands Here to Help nonprofit, where mental health is prioritized, ensuring individuals have access to quality counseling services, crisis support, and educational resources. We are dedicated to enhancing the mental well-being of our community by bridging gaps in mental health services and fostering an inclusive atmosphere. I'm going to say it again, inclusive atmosphere where conversations about mental health are encouraged and stigma is actively combated.
Okay. What do you perceive some gaps being? Ms.
Gaps
Cameron?
is not enough providers that look like them. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
That plays a big role in
Yes, it does.
receiving treatment?
It does.
Okay.
It's played a big role because most people, the people I have encountered, they want someone that looks like them to able to feel like they can relate.
Okay.
For instance, in the African American community, what I'm finding out, while there might be people well trained, they want someone that look like them because when certain things, dynamics going on in the news and social, politics, people feel like sometimes people that look like them can connect more, understand. or certain terminology that, okay, you will be able to understand a lot better than someone in a different race.
Okay.
And so, and also the other part was having access,
Yes.
really having access. Just because, it's 2025, there should be access. There's still a lot of places where there's not access or people know.
Okay.
And so having access, meaning they might not know that it's available. So providing the education to have that access.
Okay. Well, does our healthcare system allow, and mental health, just anxiety, mental health, that falls under the healthcare umbrella? Healthcare?
Right.
Okay. Do they allow a person of your statute and experience to go out to the home and still be able to bill for that, or that has to come into a brick and mortar building?
Well, it depends on if you're working for an organization, what company you're working for. That organization company might have that their clients must come in.
Okay.
Nowadays, with everything that happened with COVID, a lot of things got approved with telehealth,
Oh,
where
wait.
people in telehealth, where people can come, where they do video session, or like I said, with that company, they could allow their people to go out into the home, provide service.
Okay.
As well.
I've displaced, Coach, the telehealth. How powerful is that telehealth tool? Let's say now we don't have to go to the house because there could be some safety issues and things of that nature. Expound on that telehealth component for those of us that may have that service, but we choose not to take advantage of it. How does the telehealth play?
It's very important. It's like right now, we sitting on the couch.
Right.
Most people are comfortable in their own place.
Okay.
It's not like I gotta work up, get gas, travel somewhere, get off from work. It's where I'm at, or I'm on my lunch break. Now I can it's telehealth. It gave me access where going to therapy might have been a barrier, trying to get there, get taken off of work,
Right.
time, finding somebody to watch the kids. I can go ahead and pull up my phone, which
Wow.
we all have phone, log in, and have my session.
And I can do this during my lunch break.
You can do a lunch break. You can do it in the comfort of your home. If you feel comfortable having you a blanket in your own chair, you can do it
That
in
is
your
powerful.
car.
Coach, how does that play a part in a person being calm, cool, and collective and ready to receive their conversation with their therapist?
It makes it really important because you can build a rapport with that client based on their environment. In social work, we have something called PI. PI means person and environment. Every environment that person in, they're going to act differently. So they're going to act differently at work, at home, or in the community. Telehealth provides an opportunity for a person to really be able to engage, but just start the process of building a relationship. I do believe that when telehealth came out, there was some strengths to it, and there was some weaknesses as well. And one of the strengths of telehealth is that most people, they suffer social anxiety.
Right.
Most people just social anxiety, and especially talking about sensitive issues. Now, how would you want to talk to a sensitive issue about a person you don't know?
Right.
So you got to build some type of rapport, relationship, and then eventually you might go into the office or maybe a face-to-face. But it's giving us an opportunity to engage in people who are running away from therapy and running away from mental health because of the stigmatizing of it, and also because they're just not ready. They're just not ready to talk about an issue. And so it just gives a different platform and environment where a person can really be them authentic selves.
So we've got enough barriers already going on in self.
Yes.
Enough barriers. So to go to a building where that building already has a name for itself,
Yes.
it might be better just to pick the phone up. Do you think, Ms. Cameron, that enough of us emphasize the therapist and the actual system itself emphasizes the advantages of the telehealth component?
I'm not for sure if we really push it enough.
Okay.
We're getting there, though.
But we are, like you said, we're getting there. But people are on their phone all the time.
We are.
We on our phone, social media. And so why not? And it depends on the therapist trying to work and now navigate with these new systems, but to really hone in that we don't want to miss an opportunity to reach people where they are at, and to really utilize telehealth and video sessions to reach out to people.
Coach, I'm going to tap into my next ones up. You ready over there, Miss? What's your sister's name again? Sorry.
Soteria.
Soteria.
I don't know if I had to say this, but I did some things back in the day, Mr. Solomon, that I'm working on them brain cells again, so I'm
Okay.
building them up. Ms. Soteria, if you had a therapist and you had access to a therapist and you were having a moment in school, in class, and the adults knew, and you said, hey, I need to just take the buzzword would be time out. That's a buzzword so that everybody isn't in your business. And you was able to take a time out, go and call your therapist, would that be a difference in you making it through that moment or that hour? Yes. Okay. Is that an advantage to you to be able to use the telehealth component? Yes. Okay. Is that something that's difficult to do, Ms. Cameron?
In the school system now?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, the way the school system now, there's are barriers with having. Of course, some schools do allow kids to have their cell phone, but at certain time frames. So it just depends if the school allows phones. But sometimes in some of the school districts, they do have a counselor on board. They have different roles, but it just depends on if they're able to have access, where it's just an easy link to go over, call someone, or text somebody during their break.
Okay.
As an option. So it's just a matter of technology as well as politics and stuff, and having those structure system to support that.
Okay. Mr. Solomon, how would that assist you in it?
She's
Of course,
right.
today every game is a big game.
Yes,
Every
yes.
game is a big game. Every day is every day is a big day when you're in the athletic arena. A lot of pressure, being pulled all over the place, and you just got that little jitteries. You going up against one of the number one DBs in the state. You one of the number one receivers in the state, or you one of the number one DBs in the state, and you're going up one of the number receivers. Having access to the telehealth or having access to your therapist via phone, would that make a difference in your moment in your day?
I feel like it'll make a big difference because say you need someone to talk to, but you at school, you take a little moment, say you go into the restroom, call them real quick, have a little talk to them. It'll calm you down, get you ready and prepared so you won't be so stressed out at that moment instead of having to wait till you get home to go to an office or anything to talk to somebody.
You got some serious people in your household. Mm-hmm. And not only that, he's able to relay that information to maybe some of his teammates and other cohorts in school. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Coach, anything you want to chime in right
Well,
quick?
he articulates himself very well. And that's very important because he's talking about something that actually happens on a regular basis. Me as a coach, I used to always would have talks with my players, right? But sometimes it's people that they don't want to talk to. They don't want to talk to me. They want to talk to someone else, right?
Right.
And we call it having a brain break. Sometimes children need a brain break.
Grown folks need a brain break.
Brain
break. I like you. Thank you for sharing that word.
When you talk about the procedures and the policies in schools, what I've been doing as a therapist, I've been working on the IEP teams, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes that means individualized educational plans. Sometimes children get an IEP not just because of academic issues or they need to have some emotional behavior issues. And in that IEP, we put different protocols in to where a child can get a brain break. And a lot of my clients have been really excited about that, where you actually advocate on their behalf. And the teachers and the whole IEP team, they agree to it. Sometimes children that have behaviors or they have diagnosis of ADHD or ODD, oppositional defiant disorder, they need brain breaks. If it's 10 to 15 minutes, we have to actually put in the policy so that they will allow to get a brain break, go out in the classroom, use their phone, call their therapist, or just get an opportunity just to calm down. And so you're right, but we got to advocate more on the whole spectrum so that all children will be able to get that same access instead of just children with a diagnosis.
And therapist is not a bad word, is it, Ms. Cameron?
No, it's not. Just like we have doctors. I mean, you go to the doctor, sometimes people don't like going to the doctor in our community, okay? Mm-hmm. But you go to the doctor to get help and needs. Why not go to a therapist? It's not all bad, and you don't have to be, as some people say, crazy to go see a therapist.
Right, that's true. That's true.
Yep.
So but as people like, it comes out, I got to be something serious and wrong with myself. No, you don't have to be.
Okay. I'm going to hit us with this, and then we're going to move into the men's show. And this is for our next ones up as well as for the grown folks in the room. This is our mind food. Coach, you pass this to Miss. Hold on. Let's do this one first.
Okay.
That's a simple one. Pass that to Miss Kim. This is like our little mind food. So we do the little mind food, you guys, and then we do just a reflection. You read it. We're going to let you read it.
Okay.
And then we're going to ask the next one's up, whether that's the therapist, the parent, or the mama talk.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, go right ahead.
The same boiling water that softens the potato, hardens the egg, is about what you're made of, not the circumstances.
Okay, read it one more time.
Okay.
Y'all ready, guys? Everybody ready?
Ready?
You're not ready, Ms. Ed? Okay. We're going to let Mr. Solomon take this one then. Go right ahead.
The same boiling water that softens the potato hardens the egg. It's about what you're made of and not the circumstances.
All right, so you just got burned. Not burned. That's a term that we use in athletics. You got burned. But then you got burned, but then you're coming back on offense and you just scored a touchdown.
Yes.
Can you reflect on what is that mom speaking, reading? Is that the therapist? Excuse me. How do you want to receive what she just read?
Boy,
Hit it one more
you're getting
time,
so
Miss
good.
Aki.
You're getting so good.
The same boiling water that softens the potato, it hardens the egg. It's about what you're made of and not the circumstances.
So do you want mama speaking to you? Do you want the parent speaking to you? Or do you want the therapist speaking to
I feel
you?
like that's the therapy standpoint or the mom, or not mom, but parent standpoint. For like, put it in the football term. Say you guarding someone, they catch a pass. You can come back, guard them, catch an interception, and score a touchdown.
Ooh. That's it.
Wow. So
That's it.
that's that foundation. That's the foundation, because one day when the darkness shows up, you're going to be able to take back the energy inside the household, and you'll be able to like, hey, the darkness, step behind me. Because you're glowing very loudly, and it wants that. And student athletes, we always prepare you guys to do the work. But one day the work ceases. Now we're left on an island. And I'm experiencing that now with my student athlete. We always talk about doing the work, but then one day that door closes. And the student athlete is stuck on an island because he was Mr. Everything. He was always that guy in the light. And now all of a sudden someone doesn't value him. And the value hasn't diminished.
No, it hasn't.
It hasn't diminished. It's just been displaced. So you responded to that very well. Mr. S, you want to say anything on that? You want to hear it one more time? Hold on. Let me get my camera right. Go right ahead.
I think it's the therapist too,
Okay, and by what means?
because it's like they encouraging you to like
Get it out. Go ahead. Well, you said it. They're encouraging you. So if you're playing the band, do you know the person next to you when they hit a bad note? Do you know
Do you
the
hear?
person next to you?
Oh yeah, look at that. Yes. Okay.
So when they hit that bad note, what is your reaction to their bad note?
I either tell them or like if I can't hear it all the way, just act like I don't hear it.
Okay. Now, how do you manage when you hit a bad note?
I try it again.
Okay.
You'll try it again.
How do
That's
you
good.
react when you hit a great note? You're like, that's that note right there. That's the one I've been looking for.
I see if I can do it again.
All right. So Ms. Cameron, how does success and failure play a part in our personal endeavors throughout the day? We just don't get one failure for the whole day, and we don't get one success for
That's
the
right.
whole
That's
day.
right.
How do you how do you instill in your clients the balance of that failure and that success?
Well, I look at it as when someone have failure, I still find out what they consider that failure is. Because what they might think is a failure, I still see that's progress.
Ooh.
And so I dig deep. Okay, what happened? What didn't happen? But it really was, you still made some progress. And to them might not be progress, but I try to let them see that's still
Right.
progress. Even though it's minor, it's still with progress. And then definitely when we find out success, celebrating with them success and letting them see how far they came. And so reflect back on that. But success and failure the failure still is some progress and you learning from it and to see where you came from.
Coach, I done found me. Coach is my therapist. I got me a backup therapist, Coach. I got me a backup therapist. Yeah, I got a little insurance money I need to tap into. Yeah. All right. Felicia Tripp, that's one of our superheroes in the community, and we've got to introduce you to Felicia Tripp.
Okay.
And Felicia Tripp, you see we got Ms. Cameron in here today. And Ms. Cameron, give them again who you are, how they can contact you, and your specialties.
Okay. My name is Felicia Cameron. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and a SAP professional. My number is 601-317-5997, and I specialize in mental health, working with those 18 and above who dealing with depression, anxiety, coping with life transition, grief, as well as I'm a SAP professional and I work with people who failed DOT, substance abuse, and so That's it.
Coach, you got an acronym for FAIL. This guy's a king of acronyms.
Fail. Oh boy, I have to come up with one.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me get it,
Coach, what is our job as Community Strong for Jackson MS is to do what? What is your one thing about what we do? No one perspective or perception fits all.
Okay.
So, Coach, what is your perception of Community Strong with Mr. Cameron sitting here on the couch, and also the next one's up?
Well, it's very simple. Make sure that all the information that you do, we get it out to communities to get them involved.
Okay.
For instance, we got a conference coming up. Our job is to promote that conference. Our job is to make sure that everyone understands and have access to that information. And once they have access to information, they can start changing and start working themselves, and they can use a model called SOS. Save ourselves.
Save ourselves.
And that's very important.
Save
so
ourselves.
we want to make sure that community is community strong for Jackson, not community weak. Weak, when you're weak, you don't work, you don't do anything. But when you're strong,
Get up off the couch.
you get off the couch and you work and you do the work, and you don't expect for everybody else to be saying, well, we're going to do the work. No, you take
gotta do
and
the
you
work.
do the work first.
You gotta
And if
earn
they
that
just
sweat.
if they want to don't do the work, that's up to them. But for us, community strong for Jackson MS, we're going to do the work.
We got to do the work. We're connecting community to resources, resources to community. So those of you all that are viewing and listening, be sure if you know someone out there that's got some barriers, they're going through some struggles, please connect them with Miss Felicia Cameron. Also, Miss Felicia Tripp asked this: is there a computer lab option for telehealth options? Is that resonating? Is there a computer lab option for telehealth options?
I'm assuming, I'm not for sure exactly the question, but if they're computer lab, like if someone utilizes a laptop or a desktop, they can log on. If there's like a website or app that they can log on to their computer to do those telehealth sessions. And then also, like I said, many times people utilize their phone. And so if they have like the link,
Right.
they can click on their link or their portal and go to do the telehealth video sessions. So I'm assuming that's what she asked, but I'm not for sure.
Okay. You know, maybe our educational systems need to do the brain break, because our students come to school with a lot of anxiety, depression, and just challenges from home. And maybe we need to start incorporating some brain breaks to where there's therapists available, computer lab-wise, to be able to connect. 5 minutes, there's no telling what 5 minutes would do for a student that we wouldn't even say may be experiencing these moments of lack of confidence. The other thing was spoken was we need to home in and educate everyone about the mental health. It doesn't equate to mental illness.
No.
Okay, can you give me the balance between mental health and mental illness? Every child should have an IEP because they are all individuals with individual needs. And you know what? And that doesn't discriminate. If everyone does the IEP, you can't single out a child that's actually working the IEP. But by doing the IEP, you might be able to hone on something that we didn't suspect about a child that's experiencing something.
Right.
Am I saying that right, Coach?
Yeah, you are. And also, to expand on that, what we're looking at doing is that when you actually have a treatment plan for a child, we don't call it just a treatment plan anymore. We call it an individualized service plan.
Ooh,
So if it's
I love
individual,
that.
it's individualized to make sure you give the proper service. And that plan is not just included for just that child, but that whole team that comes together and make that plan for that child. So when it's individualized, it properly deal with the particular symptom that the child is dealing with, instead of generalizing and putting that child in the blocks like everybody else. And that's something that we have to really get away from when it comes to mental health. And that's the illness part of it. The illness part of it is that you put everybody in the point where everybody group think and they think alike and they act alike. That is not realistic. It got to be individualized in order to work on ways to help that child or that person get back to some normalcy.
Ms. S., so what is your take on mental health balancing with mental illness? We're going to use the word balance. We're not going to say verse.
Okay.
Okay, go mental health balancing with, paralleling mental health and mental illness. Go right ahead.
So with mental health, I think we all need to have mental health.
Ooh-wee.
And so, because we all dealing with various different emotions, and we need to know how to control and deal with those emotions, which is our mental health. And so sometimes people just think mental health, think about something like the illness part, like depression or bipolar. They think about the schizophrenia, but I'm actually talking about your emotional health, your mental health.
Right. Okay. All right, I'm going to ask my next ones up. You ready, Miss S? I keep saying Miss S because I don't want to mess your name
It's
up.
Soteria.
It's Miss Soteria.
Soteria. Not Santeria, but Soteria.
You got some classmates. Are your classmates, do they know that your mom is a therapist?
I think sometimes.
Okay, all right. Maybe by the way you carry yourself. If you've got a classmate that you're looking at, not just in one observation, but over a period of time, how would you approach that classmate? What would be your way of touching a classmate that may be having some moments where they need to be able to speak to someone?
I would tell them to come go to my mom.
Ooh, you got a marketer. She out there branding mom. Come go to mom. Come holler at my mom. Keep it simple. Just I need for you to holler at my mom. And I know mom ain't going to take long to pick out what's going on. That's great. That's great. I think sometimes we tend to watch people like back in the day, and you would have a student or a child that didn't have the proper, what we consider to be a proper smell. And, we wanted to ridicule, make fun, and bully that person as opposed to really, I think one of our instructors got at us one day and said that everyone doesn't have the same resources in-house as you may have in your home. Mm-hmm. And that just kind of set the bar and the tone that this person isn't intentionally coming to school like this. There's some other barriers at the
right.
house. All right, Mr. S, Mr. Solomon, you've got a player that's really down, a teammate that's really down on himself, and guys are janking and jabbing and stuff. And I think the jank is okay, but sometimes we just want to drive it in. You always got that one person who just wants to, and I think they're hiding their insecurities, but that's some grown folks' interpretation. How would you steer your teammate into an environment or a place or a person that would kind of give him a little release of that?
I was just giving him a little talk and telling him about how whatever the people saying is not really true. They're just trying to joke and make someone else feel bad or feel down because they probably got something going on at home that they're trying to push away so they're trying to talk about someone else and put it on someone else. And if it's real serious, I'll just get my mom, have a little talk to them because she can't physically give them a real therapy session because they, younger than 18, but she can still talk to them and just figure out what they got going on, give them a little talk because you never know how much a little talk can go.
Man.
So when you send your children off to school,
You said it right the first time.
they got some tools.
The first time.
They got some tools.
Yes.
They know how to get in, get out, and get out the way. So this leads us to this. I want to thank you for my therapy session. I've got post-voters blues syndrome. Not necessarily about the winning, but just some of the behaviors, the process of how I have seen people interact.
Okay.
So thank you so much for coming in here and allowing me to lift that off my shoulder. So I was a little bit selfish.
Oh, okay.
So the first hour of this, we honed in on the therapist component of Miss Cameron, the services that she offers. We're not preaching failure because you didn't pass a drug test. Coach, we want them to do what?
We want them to make sure they can understand they have education and they have training as well with this process. And then I actually came up with an acronym for FAIL.
Go right ahead. I told you that's my guy.
But it's not so much to what I thought it was. I'm just going by the spirit that gave it to me. Just leave it and let it be. Because it's not what I wanted to say, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Check this out. Next one's up. He came up with the acronym for FAIL.
The acronym for FAIL is Focus, Attention, Involving Learning. Focus, Attention, Involving Learning.
Wow, that's powerful, Coach.
And I kept on just this word involve and like, God, how can you involve learning with it? And then when Miss Felicia was talking about the failure and she talked about success and how she was blending both of them to actually mean some of the same thing, that's what failure is. When you fail, you focus your attention involving learning. You don't learn and you don't get to the next lesson unless you fail. Adversity causes you to look at a situation and say, I'm going to fight through it. But you got to fail first. But when you fail, you don't fall. You fail, you get up and you focus and you say, I have attention now to involve. What can I learn from what happened earlier?
Do you receive that, Miss Cameron?
I receive it.
Can we work with that fail?
Yeah.
Okay, focus, attention.
Involving learning.
Involving learning. Give us a reflection on that focus and attention involving learning, Miss Cameron.
Well, just hearing him saying that focus attention is like I'm really being intentional about what I'm paying attention to. I guess that kind of sounds but really honing in and paying attention to what happened and involving constantly Don't just get stuck.
Okay.
Constantly learning.
We are favored and we are blessed, and we receive Lending a Hand LLC counseling therapy services face-to-face and video online. That's that telehealth component.
Right.
Felicia Cameron-LCSW, licensed clinical social work, and she's got a plethora of skill sets over the past 18 some odd years. 601-317-5997 office. I'm not going to shout. They still using fax machines?
I use fax.
Okay,
Sometimes
all right.
people use fax machines and fax referrals, so I still take it.
www.lendingmyhand.com. Email info@lendingmyhand.com. So that's the Lending a Hand LLC. That's counseling/therapy services. Now we're going to come over to the grown folks stuff. There's opportunities when you've had an opportunity to not pass. When you're hot. We're just going to keep it real. That stuff hot. SAP evaluations, assessment, follow-up, education, drug and alcohol violations for FMCSA. What is that, FMCSA?
That's the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration.
Okay. FAA. What is that?
The Federal Aviation, I forgot the association. I forgot the other.
Administration. Okay. FRA.
That's the railroad.
Wow. FTA.
The Federal Transit,
The USGC.
United States Coast Guard.
And the PHMSA.
That's with the pipeline.
Man, you got all of them covered.
So that's up under the DOT. So
Yes.
the Department of Transportation, where they help manage and mandate about guidelines for alcohol and drugs. So,
Okay. She's a substance abuse professional, SAP, 601-317-5997 or 601-398-4440.
yes.
Okay. www.sapevaluation of Mississippi, spelled all the way out, .com. Wow. Powerful person in our community, connecting people, individual services to community and community to service. All right. And now we're going to do, and how should a person reach out to you if they want to take up, if they want to get the services that you're pouring love into the community? What's the first step for them to reach out to Ms. Cameron and say, hey, I really need to partake in that?
First, they'll just give a call. Okay. You want to call and just start talking and find out what service you need and just start talking. I have like a consultation where people can call in, whether that's for SAP or for a mental health counseling service. So just reach out and call and see, as we talk, to see if there's something I can cover in therapy session or in SAP.
If they don't feel like it's something you can cover, they're missing out. They're not serious. They're not interested.
But we have all different expertise, you know.
Okay.
So
Go right
some
ahead.
people, they might need someone that they have an eating disorder. Of course, I don't deal with eating disorders, so I can refer them out to another resources.
So you got a strong network.
So I'm still building my
One-stop
network.
shop.
Yep.
One-stop shop.
Yeah, we build
All
a
right,
network.
Mr. Solomon, we're going to let you read. Let us know what we got coming up. And before you read that, hold on. Let me give you this. You feel like reading over there, Miss S?
You feel like reading?
Oh, better yet, Miss S, tell us what Mom got going on. Tell us what the therapist got going on in the upcoming week.
A man conference on June the 14th.
She said that. Oh, hit it one more time. Hit it one more time. A what conference?
A man conference.
Okay. So this is Felicia hosted her first men's conference for men engaging in needed conversation in 2023. Men Engaging in Needed Conversation is a therapeutic conference for men coming together in a safe and inclusive space to discuss various aspects of mental health, to gain motivation, to maintain their balance, to be the best men that they can be. That's not in there. To continue to lead and receive support in their life journey. Mr. Solomon, would you please read what we got going on as far as what the name of the event is, the date, and where it's going on, and what time?
Men Engaging in Needed Conversations, Men Conference, June 14, 2025, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. for men only, 622 Dorland Avenue, Jackson, Mississippi, 39216.
All right, Mr. Cameron.
Okay.
It's your show. You got 20 minutes. Blast us and make us get up off the couch and come and put some work in.
And do some work.
Do some work.
So this conference is for men only. And yes, I know women want to come out, but this is a particular space for men. While we have guest speaker, as well as we're going to have a special guest. We're going to stop in. Chief Joseph Wade going to be stopping by. Our guest speaker is Chris Gillard. And then we have a host of, I call them legacy leaders.
Yes, yes.
And so our legacy leaders panelists, where we have panelists coming out. We have Dr. Marshall Thompson,
Okay.
Dr. Michael Brookhart, if I did the name correctly, Captain John Martin, and also Katie Ford. So the panelists will be set up, and it's got this idea to kind of do like a barbershop thing setting where the panelists will be up front. Of course, we have the panelists talking about different topics or their expertise and the questions. The audience and the attendees can ask questions, but not only that, we will have a guest speaker. He will talk to the audience about 20, 25 minutes, depending on that time frame. We will also have special music guests with Terry Thomas, well known here in Mississippi. He'll do special music guests for the men. Also, there'll be food for the men to and network event as well as vending opportunities, and for men to engage and bond with other men and just have a space for themselves. This is done right before Father's Day. So, do you have to be a father to attend? No, but I'm really pushing for men to come out to do something for you. And ladies can support the men by encouraging them to register. This event was $30, but just within the last week, I felt in my heart, and I also had an opportunity to sponsor and grant that this event is now free. There are limited spots, so I do encourage men to make sure that they go to the website to register for this event. But this event just for you.
Is it on? It's going to on Eventbrite?
It is on Eventbrite.
Okay, so they can go to Eventbrite or they can go to a website. What website would they go to?
My website is handsheretohelp/men's conference, or they can go to Eventbrite and find out men's conference.
Tell us a little about these legacy leaders. You have a Dr. Marshall Thompson. Tell us a little about Dr. Marshall, a little bit about him.
Okay. Dr. Thompson, he is a clinical psychologist and a graduate of Jackson State.
Okay.
And so, let me read a little bit more. His research on African-American research relationship began in 2016. He has, in 2024, he published a dissertation called The Impact of Family Background on the Quality of Success of African-American College Students, Intimate Relationships, and he's also experienced in treating anger, anxiety, depression, addiction, and PTSD. It's just a little highlights of some of the stuff.
Boy, he has a lot of information in terms of helping us to really understand and navigate this process of just being a man. I really like that. Tell us a little bit more about this. Mitchell, is that Brookhart?
Yes, Brookhart. He is a physician, a leader in family medicine, healthcare management, and community outreach.
Okay.
He's an active member of the organization of American Academy of Family Physicians and the Mississippi Medical Association. He's also a, what else? His motto is true health begins with good health.
True health begins with good health.
And he also has a founder and creator of a podcast that he have each week called Telehealth Tuesday.
Telehealth Tuesday, man, boy. So, well, you really, you was thorough in getting your panelists, huh?
Yes.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And then we have this Captain John Martin. Tell us a little bit about him.
Well,
Captain John Martin.
He is a dedicated leader with 14 years with the fire department.
Yes.
He brings a wealth of experience. He has an outstanding role. He a parent of 5. He enjoys fishing, farming. He participates in the Y Initiative, which is a community farming group that help new beginners farm and children, youth, and adults learn a holistic farming.
Good job. That's really good.
And so John is going to come from perspective, talking about how therapy has helped him as he's been a firefighter, working with just dealing with life and dealing with trauma. So he will be talking about how he have used therapy to help him.
Okay, now this other gentleman, Mr. Ford.
Mr. Ford is a entrepreneur. He's the founder of Landlord Lawn and Care and Landscaping. Okay. And he launched his business right before COVID, and he believed in giving an extra 20, going 120%.
I like that, 120% extra.
Faith, through grit and faith, and so he come from motivation and bring his story of hard work and faith and leadership, and as being a new young entrepreneur, to encourage people.
That's good. And then finally, my friend, Chief Joseph Wade.
Yes. Like, of course, we know Joseph Wade, the chief of police. He has over 30 years of experience. A lot of things. Chief Wade has been recognized for his outstanding leadership through his career. Two-time recipient of Meticulous Award. He's the founder of several Impact Youth Outreach Program, including Youth Citizen Police Academy, JPD Explorer Program, Jackson Police Department Athletic League, PAL. His initiative serves more than 200 youth annually and youth sports, mentoring, and leadership and development, influence, and young people's lives positive. He's a strong advocate for in the community, so he's going to stop by. He has a very busy schedule, but we agreed for him to be able to stop by, to share in, and talk with the men.
He's really excited. I know I talked to him maybe like 3 weeks ago. He was talking about the reduction in crime in the city of Jackson. You know, he even said that crime, we even 25 deaths less than we had last year is good, but it's not great. We really want to get to the point where we have 0 deaths.
Right.
You know, but at the end of the day, the reduction, it plays to where we have men are actually working on helping other men solve their problems before they get into a point where it leads to someone dying. I see you have a guest speaker here. It's Chris Gilliard.
Yeah.
Now, why do we choose this guest speaker, and what he has to bring to the table? Why would the people be excited about coming to a conference, a men conference, to hear a speaker like Chris Gilliard?
Well, Chris, my family know Chris from a while, and so Chris, I know Chris traveled all over speaking. Chris has been well known. He's read over it. He was over the Mississippi Department of Safety for several years, highway patrolman.
Okay.
Right now, he is worked with on his church, Pine Lake Church, as a ministry team, city mission. And I do know he goes throughout. He has over 30 years of law experience. He has held several high positions in law enforcement as well. And so he helped also mentor as well as community and church outreach. And so with Chris going to come in from the angle talking about legacy, leadership, and faith.
Legacy, leadership, and faith.
What does that look like?
Yeah, what
does that look like? You said what
legacy, leadership, and faith.
And before you go into that, let us know when the event is, where it's going to be, what time it starts, and what the investment is.
Okay. The event is June 14th, on this upcoming Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and it's at Dooley Hall in the Fondra area. That's 622 Dooley Avenue in Jackson. Like I said, we have guest speaker, panelists, vendor opportunities, as well as food. The investment is free. It used to be $30, but right now, as of last week, with our generous support, a sponsor and a grant, it is now being free.
Wow! So let's give it. And we didn't speak on who are some. Are you able to elaborate on who some of the sponsors are? We want to make sure we make a note of who they are. We want to support those who support the people in our community that are working. Who are some of our sponsors?
The main sponsor, I'm very grateful through a grant that we received from AWS grant regarding, we received a grant from AWS for Community Strong in, not Community Strong, in community.
We'll take it. You said it right. You said it right. We'll take it. We'll take it.
I'm sorry.
Don't retract that. We'll get some of that. Go ahead. We coming. We coming.
They serve communities in the Jackson metro area, so Madison, Ridgeland, and Hines, where they offer a grant that I applied for through the nonprofit. And so they was a big sponsor and support, as well as my business, Lending My Hand and SAP Evaluation, and as well as a sponsor, King K Dental.
Awesome. You have some good people that actually put support in the effort. It's always important to get that support and to have that support continuously, you know what I'm saying? Because it really helps a lot of people understand that we can do these things, but we need some people to be consistent with their giving, and that's very important. And I'm just really excited that you got this conference, but at the same time, you are a female.
Right.
And you birthed a conference for men. So what was the inspiration for creating this conference?
it was not me. You know, like you said, I am a female birthed in this conference. So a couple years ago, as I started my practice in private practice, I have started seeing an uptake of more men coming to therapy.
Okay.
And sometimes people say, well, there's not men coming to therapy. What I've been seeing opposite, there have been more men coming to therapy. And I am so grateful to see more men come to therapy, because once I find out a man want to reach out for therapy, I try my best to make sure I get him in for counseling. And so I'm seeing more and more men come to therapy for various reasons.
Okay.
Whether it's relationship problems, dealing with grief, dealing with stress, depression, or dealing with, hey, I want to be a better me. I want my life to be better. I don't want my past trauma or things I encounter affect my future. And so seeing more men come to therapy and getting the help, I said, start thinking about, there's a lot of men that's not going to come for whatever reason, whether the stigma or they're not going to come, but still, how can we still get them this information? And so praying about it, and this is not my idea, it's the God idea. Prayed about it, seek counsel from my family, my husband, and other people, and launch out to create this men's conference.
Right.
And so, you're right, it's like this woman hosting a men's conference, but it's a God ordained deal for me to do this.
I see that you have a young man in yourself that trusts your son, and it's very important that he actually have his voice and his choice and how he see things and how he see life. So do you feel like this conference is something that really can help him down the line, or can it actually help him now?
Yeah, I feel like this conference can help him and others down the line, as he gets older, because he sees that the information, seeing that I'm going out the way to do everything I can to help men, and that there are people, we in society, sometimes when I see in therapy, sometimes men tell me, or sometimes where they feel like they've been beat on or constantly teared down by women, but this is showing the opportunity that this is not a tearing down atmosphere. This is time to lift up and encourage and create that space, and for him to see that as a role model, that when he get connected with someone he want to decide to marry, that, the skills, I want someone to build up, not tear down.
All right, boy, that's
Coach,
good.
what you grinning about?
Yeah, because you're laying a platform of how you want to see your next one up.
Right.
So it's almost like structured tutoring, or you have a structured socialization. You want to put your child in a position where they can get all the tools that's necessary before they actually become what they call a man.
Right.
So now him being a young male, he has an opportunity to be in an environment with all these different men, and it can give him that positive information that can help him overcome these hurdles. He's going to have these hurdles as a man, so it's very important to prepare him for that.
I came up with something, and Ms. Cameron, please tap in. You see how we go ahead. Oh man, Mr. Solomon, you gonna bring me to the microphone? Now that's your mic right there, Mr. Solomon. Mr. Solomon, bring Mr. Hey to the mic. Just get a little closer. Get a little closer.
Hey, look.
Give me some more enthusiasm, like you just scored a touchdown.
Hey, how y'all doing?
We have reversed the roles in here. Ms. Cameron, did you notice what we were doing?
I saw something going on over
Okay.
there.
What we've done, Coach, is, and you already know, we want to connect people to opportunities and opportunities to people.
Or resources.
So Mr. Cameron came in here, not Mr. Cameron, Mr. Cameron, Mr.
Solomon
Solomon came
you said
in.
it
He
right.
didn't even want to be on the screen. So when we positioned him, after I gave him confidence, they weren't going to have to say anything. Not to take away from the conference, because it's all about moving from a comfort zone.
Right.
So any men that are out there and you're having a moment, we're not going to say you can't resolve it and work through it yourself.
Right.
But why not go get a team? Mr. Cameron, go down to where all three of us are on there. There you go. Now go over there to that other. Now move us over. Yeah. Now. Oh, look out, Mr. Cameron. Mr. Cameron over there producing, engineering. I need to be seen. I ain't been seen like this in a while, Coach.
You look so comfortable.
All right,
dog.
just leave it right there now, Mr. Cameron. It's all about me. Okay. All about me.
And your hat.
And the
10,000 what? 10,000 what?
Fearless.
Fearless.
So Ms. Cameron is giving us an environment for the remainder of the year.
Yes.
That if you get up off the couch and you come out to this event, not to this event, but to the event, there's a lot going on that day. There's a lot going on. we're not saying you have to stay for the whole day.
Just show up.
But show up. And normally, the front end is normally good, the middle is good, and the end is great.
Right.
You get an opportunity to network with men.
Yes.
You get an opportunity to build a foundation so that when you leave there, you have some tools in your chest,
That's
in
it.
your box.
That's
So,
it.
Coach, I came up with this little, because I got to reach somebody in my family.
Okay.
I said we have to be truthful
Truthful?
in our reality. What does that mean, Ms. Cameron? I've got to be truthful in my
our
reality.
I'm going to write that down.
I have to be truthful in my reality.
It really does mean that, because like I said, I have people tell me what they're going through, and I'm like, that is the truth. That's the reality, what you're going through. And so being honest about this is my truth, even though
It burns, it
might
hurts.
hurt, it'd be painful, it is what it is, but it is your truth. And it is right now it's your reality.
Okay.
Now we got to know what we're going to do with that truth and reality and how we move forward with it.
So my next component, Coach, to the truth is, because I got to be truth with me, not truth with you all, but with me. Now I've got to understand the truth.
Understand the truth.
I got to understand it. I got to come to terms that, hey, the reason my lights are turned off because of something. That's my reality. My lights are turned off.
Okay.
So now I got to become truthful. I'm going to the club. I'm balling out. I'm doing things I shouldn't be doing. So that's my understanding that, hey, I created this.
Right.
Even if I'm not the actual culprit of creating it. Because I can say, well, man, I ain't had the best education. I don't live in the best neighborhood. We come up with reasons and excuses not to put the work in. Next thing I got to do is, so explain to me about my understanding after I come to terms with my truth.
So we might need to dig a little deeper about that.
Okay.
Because that can be affecting a lot of other things and why you're dealing with this reality.
Oh, wait. Okay, so my truth is my reality is my truth. My
Okay.
truth is my reality.
Okay.
My understanding.
Okay.
Okay, now I've got to be committed and convicted for another outcome, for a better outcome. That's making sure that my light's on. What does that look like? Being committed and being committed and also being convicted. What does that look like in my process?
So that process means that we actually talking and working through a plan that you come help and work up to develop, not me. Because in order for you to be committed with it, it's got to be something you help with, So it might mean I'm constantly talking to you, asking questions to help you come up with that plan so you can be committed. And then we got to start working on how you're going to start working on that and make it happen.
All right. Okay, we rolling. I got my producer
Keep
over
going,
there. Coach,
Doc.
this is a reflection of being around you the last year.
Yes.
Now, my number 4
Okay.
is I've got to execute and or take action. Whichever one I can relate to. I got to either execute or I got to take action on being truthful with my reality, understanding my reality, and my buying in and having ownership
Right.
for the conviction and the commitment. So what does the execute and the action part look like?
Just doing it. And you might have to do it small steps. So figure out a way. Now we're ready to execute. Okay, but how do we execute? 'Cause I want you to execute when I tell people I want you to be successful. And so sometimes we have I know I need to execute and we starting off real big, but no, what are the small steps you got to do to execute that plan so you can be successful and you feel comfortable? Okay, I'm ready for the next step instead of starting out real big and you fall and fail and get unmotivated and don't want to go further. So let's do those small steps, be successful in that, move on up.
And Coach, what is fail? And I can love on fail while I'm going through the process of being successful, Miss Cameron. So, Coach, what is fail again?
Focus, attention, involving learning.
And
Focus, attention, involving learning.
And what does that look like in the process of my baby steps? Because just because I do a baby step don't mean I'm not going to meet my sister or my brother of fail. So what does focus, attention,
Involving
he was going to whisper it to me. You can go ahead. I don't keep up with stuff long.
learning.
Oh, learning. What does that look like in the process of my baby steps of executing and taking action?
So it looks like as we making these small baby steps and taking action, we're just focusing on that right now.
Okay.
I mean, really just that small step.
Okay.
And be intentional about it. Even though we might fail, we still going to continue involved and learn from it. And so it might go in detail, finding out, a little bit more detail about what was that step
You are
we're
so
doing.
cool.
Oh,
You are too. I come in and tell all my business.
This is
I
it.
told Coach half my business. I'm going to tell you the other half.
This is what they call. This is called a therapeutic response. So in school, we used to do these little vignettes and little scenarios, right? I'm just puzzled. I'm sitting here, man. You are really just making sure that the audience, or our community strong family, understands the behind the scenes of what goes on in therapy.
Right.
'Cause this is really what happened.
The other night, Miranda Joyner came here, and this lady had, so when you guys come in, when I looked at your bio, I was like, wow. It was kind of like, wow. It was well put together. I mean, just wow. It's a travel path. And you shared that some things were occurring internally inside the workforce, and you said enough is enough, and you went and put some action to it.
Yes, you did.
So when Ms. Joyner came out the other night, Succeed and Elevate, I didn't really focus in on how to be connected to her program. So I've got to get her back. So today when I came in, I said, how can I better facilitate or fulfill the people that are watching? So thank you, because you're offering the SAP, and then you got the personal therapist, and people don't need to miss out on connecting. And
No,
it's
they don't.
our job, Coach, it's our duty that we connect, because we get into a lot of reflection and thinking about the person, because I like to deal with the trials and tribulations, but we still need to be able to share with them the process of getting to your door.
That's right.
Gentleman told me he was real buff looking. He was cut right. I get a product. I stared at me and it cut right. I'm not gonna do the work. So I said, brother, if I drink this little drink here, will it make me? He said, no, you gotta put some work in. I didn't want to hear that. That was the truth of my reality.
Yeah,
If I want to look like that, I got to move from off the couch.
Yeah.
So he said this. He said the heaviest weight in the gym, in the building, at Planet Fitness, or wherever you work out at, is the door. Do you catch what he was saying to me? What was he saying?
That's the heaviest weight, because that's a huge weight that you got to pull and go through.
Bingo.
You got to pull and go through.
You got to go. You got to open the door and go in.
And most people, like when you said y'all now working on connecting, this is great, but people do want to feel connected.
Right.
And so they want to feel like, okay, they can see themselves or pull more from it than just information and education. So you want to get a little bit more deeper to the core. And now I can really connect to what you're talking about, what y'all talking about, and engage more.
And that's
be a part of
not
it.
and that's not even including the way we've moved the next ones up around in here. We've got Mr. Solomon over there producing. He's got some little snippets for you on his phone. He's smiling.
wise
He's engaged.
man.
He's probably
The
like, Mom, I
wise
really don't
man.
want to go to this today. I really don't. In conclusion, and then we're going to hit it one more time with the event itself.
Yes.
My last and fifth final step, before I start my steps all over again, because they haven't become habit and behavior, is it evaluate or reevaluate? Which word am I looking for? Evaluate or reevaluate? Huh?
Reevaluate.
Reevaluate / assessment. So after I do the truth, the reality of my truth, my understanding of my truth, my commitment and my conviction, buying into it and taking ownership.
Yep.
Number 4 is going to be my executing my action. Last but not least, I've got to evaluate or assess the first 4. What does that look like?
Well, you remember everything real good.
Because I've got to convey this.
Yeah, you
This
gotta
is about to
convey
be
the
my
message.
philosophy. I got to convey this. I'm having this process in my own life with something.
So how does that reevaluate and
That
assessment
evaluate
look?
and that assessment.
It's actually looking, try to go beyond yourself, and I try to tell people, okay, if you can pull yourself apart from it, the situation, how are you, this person,
Out
if
of
this
body.
person was doing this, how will you evaluate them? How would, because sometimes we so caught up in me, the selfishness part.
I'm selfish. Hell, I'm
Well,
selfish.
and you're actually,
She done came over and got me a piece of this couch.
You got all these different steps, and you working through step 1 through 4. Okay, but now, okay, if you can say if this was someone else or this was you, you know, you can just pull yourself separated. How will you evaluate how they did it?
Right.
The process.
Right.
But they could have been done better, different, you know?
Okay.
So looking at it from a different perspective.
Okay. And Coach, and then we start the process all over again. So, Mr. Solomon, we got 4 minutes. We're going to close this out. And you get to maneuver that camera and those scenes. You get to maneuver the scenes. So as each of us is sharing something, let's start moving. You finna really turn it up now, because you done got comfortable over there on me. He over there in his phone. Okay, let's work. So we're closing out, and we want to thank Miss Felicia
Cameron.
and her family, the Camerons, yeah. And we just want to thank them so much for coming out today, taking time out, for sharing. This will not be your last time. We look forward to, please let them know what we got going on this coming Saturday. And you're doing this prior to Father's Day. Why is that so it's so vital? Why the timing?
The timing is because Mother's Day, there's always events for Mother's Day. There's always things going on for Mother's Day. And I know this month also we celebrate Men's Mental Health Month. So
Men's Mental Health.
And so this time I wanted to create an event to really support fathers. Like I said, you don't have to be a father, but why not create an event for fathers or men, for around this time frame? And so looking at the time right before Father's Day, I think this would be a great gift. Even if you're not a father, but you are an uncle, a brother, that you help support in a father figure, to have this event for you.
So the event is going to be when?
The event is June 14th. It's this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's at Dooley Hall in Fondren at 622 Dooley Hall in Dooley Avenue in Jackson, Mississippi. Again, we have guest speaker. We have legacy leaders panelists, as well as networking, as well as we provide lunch.
And will there be a cost for this event?
The cost is free, but you must register because there's limited spots.
So it's going to be, you having limited spots. This is an investment. So you invest your time, get off the couch and come to this event. And then people can go to Eventbrite, or what website can they go to
They
register?
can go to handsheretohelp.com/men's conference, or you also can go to Eventbrite.
All right. So we got a great event coming up on June the 14th. And what's important with this event is not so much the event itself, it's the follow-up, what happens after the event. So what we do, first of all, we got to get people to the event so they can take step one.
Right.
And they can't get to step 4 unless they take step 1. So we need everyone to register today.
Right.
And because basically by Wednesday, it's going to be packed.
Yes, that's the goal.
That's the goal. It's great. So we're really excited about what you're doing and how you're able to make sure that everything you do is a reflection of yourself.
Right.
Because now you're seeing yourself being birthed through all these different people that's going to come that you never met before. Yeah.
Well, again, thank y'all for this wonderful opportunity, this platform where I can share this information out.
All right. Anything you want to say, producer?
That's all.
Go ahead, producer.
Tell them something.
Mr. Solomon, give us some wisdom, Mr. Solomon.
First of all, we need everybody to come out to my mom's event. She's going to be telling y'all some good stuff. Anything y'all can learn, just pop out to that. Y'all can learn something.
All right. And what number we need to be looking out for this year on the field?
Number 17, Germantown High School.
Number 17, German High School, Mr. Solomon Wise Cameron. How that sound?
That sounds good.
All right.
Hey, 601. Unity, love, and peace. Get peace. Love, community. Hey, everybody. Hey, something to say. Listen.
Hey. We want to thank you all so much for coming out this Sunday. It's all about connecting community to resources to community. Ms. Felicia Cameron, you're pouring so much love, and I've been watching you and following you, and it was just so important to have you to come out personally and fill our vessels. So please continue to connect with us. Community Strong Fort Jackson MS, Community Conversation, Thursday night at 7 o'clock. We'll have another superhero in the building. I don't know how this lady stay charged up, but I guess because she's loving on community.
Yes.
All right. Byron Broomfield. Black Goldie the Mac. Snow with no W. Moving Southern Styles.
Yes.
The clean version of Community Strong for Jackson MS. Be on the lookout for Zach Service. He'll be doing a rap for Community Strong for
Jackson MS.
All right. And also special shout out to Miss S and one of our new producers, Mr. Solomon.
The wise man.
And also my guy, Lil Chris, for sharing his time with us today. Hey.
There's no other way.
That's it. Once again, before we leave, Miss Cameron, give me that telephone number because your phone is supposed to be blowing up. Let them know Community Strong for Jackson MS steered you that way, connected you.
601-317-5997.
All right. Hey, you guys be superheroes wherever you are today because it is based on you saving yourself first. All right.
We out of here.
Okay.
That was a great show.
Thank you. It was really good.